Okay, so I'm here at the White Plains show and down at the county center, and I just picked up my first deal. Let's take a look at what we got. These all came from my buddy John.
So I'm at the DoubleTree Hotel, and last week when I was sick from the Philly show, I booked my rooms for last weekend. So I just asked if I could get a refund. They said no, because they held the room. So I ended up paying for my room twice during this weekend just to add the expenses. So add $350. So the goal is to eat $350 worth of breakfasts in the next 2 days. So we're gonna eat a lot of eggs and bacon. At least it looks all right. My shower has a butthole washer. I've never had one of those before. All right, we got the lines starting to form already. Looking pretty good. Lucky's Promotions, getting ready to pack it in. So let's get inside and get reset up.
Look at that. We're at the White Plains show. I'm sitting next to my boy Mike over there, who takes care of everybody. People love his bargain boxes, as they should. Great guy over there. Okay, so I'm at the show. And I'm just about to fill up the showcase here. I'm gonna try and experiment. I bought a deal. I'm gonna show it to you really quick, and I'm gonna fill up the showcase, and we're gonna do it. All right, let's take a look at the cards. Ready, 4 and 5. Actually, this was mine. I'm throwing this in this lot as an experiment, just to kind of move it. 69 tops Reggie, 4. 72 tops Ron Blomberg, 4. Nice card. 72 tops Munson, 7. 73 tops Gossage, 5. 74 tops Schmidt, 5. 75 tops Fred Lynn, 6.5. 75 tops Keith Hernandez, 6. Drew Whitaker rookie, 8 tops. Second year, Dale Murphy, and an 8 with Lions Parish. 78 Eddie Murray, nice presentation, 4. 79 Eddie Murray, real nice presentation, 6. 1980 tops Isaac Smith, 9. 1982 tops Cal Ripken, 5. It's actually really nice. It's got a little thumb impression there. Then we got a Gwynn, 84 and an 8. 84 tops Strawberry, and 7.5. 82 Donners Jack Nicklaus, and an 8. 93 tops Sheeter, 5. And a Wade Boggs score, 9.5. There's Reggie came in also. It came in a 6. It's like really nice and centered. I'm gonna keep this for myself, so I'm gonna pull this out of the deal. Now that whole stack minus the Reggie Jackson. I'm gonna keep the Reggie for myself, but I paid. Oh, sorry, that whole stack minus the Whitey Ford. I paid $425 for the stack from a good customer of mine, John. John, thank you so much for the deal. I really appreciate it. Gave me good room. He estimated that the whole deal was $775 in comps. I double checked his work when I got home from the hotel. I trusted him. It was right. It was right there. So very happy with the deal. I am going to put that out. I added the Whitey Ford. I'm pulling the Reggie Jackson. I'm going to put the whole deal out in one showcase for $500. Let's see what happens. I bought the deal on Friday. It's Sunday. We'll see what happens. Okay, we are back in the office. My voice is still a little strained, but I'm feeling much, much better. It is Tuesday morning. I gave myself yesterday, Monday, the day off just to kind of settle in. I felt like I was kind of redlining, with fatigue heading into the show, and I just couldn't wait to get home, even though it was a really good show. We'll get into that in a second. Now that we're here, I want to talk about that $425 deal. So I was able to flip it. I put it in the showcase for $500, and a dealer came by, and we were just talking, and I just like, listen, if you want it $450, you can have $450. He's like, can I get it for $425? Now, mind you, that's what I paid for the deal. However, what I ended up doing was I took a slow selling card that's been in my showcase forever for $30, which was that 64 tops Giants Whitey Ford. I had it out for $30, probably would have taken $20 for it. I mean, it's a really nice looking card. The only reason why I got a 5 is because that small stain on the back. but it was dead centered, sharp. I thought I was going to get a 9. I missed the stain when I sent it in, but whatever. So I'm into that card for $15 because it came out of a big collection that I profited greatly on. And so what I ended up taking out of that stack was this 1970 Topps Reggie Jackson, which is going to the PC. It is dead center, top, bottom, left, right. It's got little, tiny issues with the corners, but overall very sharp. And I love this image of Reggie Jackson. It's just such a cool card. And obviously, as you're starting to get to know me more, I PC A's and red stuff. I don't have a lot of non-signed stuff. And as a matter of fact, I just got this one in signed. So the blue Sharpie really pops on that card. So the math on that is bought the deal for $425. I'm into the Reggie for $15. That Reggie off-centered sixes are selling for $90 to $100. So, I mean, is that the $110 version? Sure. Did I pick up $90 and in a card? Yeah, and that was great. That's the nice thing about doing a show where, you have people that are willing to groove you a deal, and then you could groove it to somebody else, and you could kind of get something that you want out of it. And I didn't have to break it down. I mean, trust me, when I put in the showcase, everyone wanted to buy the Reggie rookie. Everyone wanted to buy the Thurman Munson. I mean, there's only so many people that saw it, and then before you know it, just the right guy came. It was actually Bazooka Greg from was he Rookie Parade? So he ended up buying it from me, and we've done plenty of business in the past. So, all right, so. Now's the time where I just want to acknowledge, some of the customers and the friends of the show. First off, I want to start off with a guy who I feel like I've become really good friends with over the past couple of years. Met him, I think, for the first time at the East Coast National 2 years ago when I was in the side room. Shout out to my boy Marcus. Marcus, you're a great customer and a good friend. And I always enjoy our conversations thoroughly. And we always joke about how, when you start looking through the cards, and you're like, you'll start off on one side, like, well, maybe walk the show a little bit. And then, before you know it, you'll be like back in like 20 minutes. And it's like, okay, well, I'm going to buy some more stuff from you, which it's always greatly appreciative. And I always love hanging out with you. So it's great seeing you. My boy Basketball Gus, who does 1990s, like late 90s, early 2000s basketball inserts and rookies and stuff like that. He's also become a very consistent customer, and I always like talking to him about that era of inserts and rookies. So the card companies were putting out really, really good products back then. And, when you have more competition and you have multiple companies that have licensing, it's amazing what that drives and what that sparks. So, and there's been a huge boom and resurgence in that era of collecting for all sports, baseball, football, basketball, and hockey. So shout out to Gus. Of course, Johan stopped by, said he wasn't going to come down, stops by on Sunday. Johan's legendary. I talk about all the time in some of my older podcasts and stuff like that. He's one of my best friends for just over 20 years. And it's amazing how many friends I have that I consider really close or best friends who I met through cards. I'm probably going to do a show on it because I swear to God, there's not too many friends outside of cards that I have, whether it's in the card industry or, people who collect. So I talk to some of these people on a daily basis, and I met them through cards. So it's just pretty crazy. And Johan's got, over 2,000 Mattingly autographs and whatever. But I got Johan come on, and we'll have a little powwow there. So, of course, I got to give a shout out to Patrick, the Hat Trick, rocking the merch. Not that I'm selling it, guys. If you know I'm going to be at a show, if you go to www.cardshows.shop and you check on the events calendar, it shows you where I'm going to be listed. I've been stocking just, multi-sized shirts, and I'm just handing them out. They're nice dry wicking shirts. They're really nice, great to work out in. You just have to wash them once and let them air dry. They're dry in 5 minutes. And the fact that, I got some guys now that are walking the floor and kind of representing the brand, which is a benefit to me, but also a benefit to you is, I know mostly all the dealers, and they're very friendly with me. A lot of those guys buy from me. They see the shirt, you might start up a conversation that you might not have had before or had the ability to have, and it could lead into a discount, or you might have something that I might not be interested in buying, but it's their niche, their genre. So it's a nice little conversation starter for sure. So Patrick, thank you so much. I always enjoy the conversations with you because we're very close in age and, grew up in the same era and everything. And it's just always a pleasure talking to you. And thank you so much for all your support. Got to give a shout out to my boy Charles Stabile, who's been in the business forever. I ended up getting some bad news as far as his departure with PSA. He worked for PSA for a little over a year. Has been with Beckett, I think, for over 10 years. Prior to that, he's with Steiner. He's well known in the hobby, very well liked. He's kind of like the liaison for not only customers and customer service. This guy knows customer service very, very well. And he ended up landing another gig with an auction house in the business. I'm not going to disclose that yet because that's not for me to disclose, but I just want to say congratulations, Charles. You totally deserve it. And with that, we'll probably end up doing a lot more business for sure. So another friend, great friend who I met through cards. I also want to acknowledge a younger guy who's aspiring to become a dealer. And this is one of those things where, you kind of feel people out, and sometimes patience is key, right? I mean, everybody's human. Some people come in and you might get a bad feeling about somebody because you feel like they're trying to work you over, and you don't know why. And so I had the benefit and pleasure of dealing with this guy, this younger gentleman, a couple of times. And the first time, I think it was like a little over a year ago at the White Plains show, we ended up doing a deal, and I ended up buying a stack of just like low-end graded stuff. And the numbers were pretty tight. I mean, I kind of knew I had to be in a little bit less. He was like really stuck on it, on those numbers. And so we ended up doing a deal. I said, worst case scenario, what am I gonna do? Lose a couple bucks, make a couple bucks. I mean, whatever. So I figured I would just try it. So I ended up taking the deal in, and of course it was like a wash. Like after doing all the work or whatever, there really wasn't any money to be made. And so then he approached me. He came up to me a couple months ago, was it December or January EC3 con, February EC3 con, just literally like last month. And every time I kind of seen him, we would wave to each other and this and that. And he came up to me and he's like, how did you make out that deal that I sold you a year ago? So I just kind of went, I didn't make anything. It was a wash. And he's like, well, I got some higher end stuff. And I was like, do you want to take a look and possibly do some buying? And I mean, right there, my spidey senses are going off. I'm like, well, if we really couldn't do much business then, I don't know if we're gonna be able to do much business now. Okay. So he starts sliding over some pretty big cards. And the one that I really just remember was like a Barry Bonds 86 top traded PSA 10 or SGC 10 or something like that. And so then he starts sliding some over other bigger cards. And I was like, hold on. I was like, before I even look, I'm like, where are you at on comps on these? Because I know he's a big comp guy. And so he's like, well, I'm into these at 77% of comps. And I'm like, I was like, if you're looking to make money on me, I was like, we're kind of dead in the water. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be able to even look at any other stuff. I was like, because I'm not one of those guys that pays 80% and I have the outs of either doing some repackaging or, you buy and hold and you mark your stuff up 140%, 130% to see if, you could get somebody exactly at comps or whatever. I don't do that. Anybody that knows me, you see my showcases, what's left of them is because I'm not saying I buy cheap, but I mean, I pay fair and I sell fair like that. So I'm below all that stuff. And lots of times if you get one of those kinds of cards, like a Barry Bonds A6 tops traded, I'm probably gonna go to eBay with it and the comps are gonna fluctuate, So I mean, if it drops 10%, there's no money to be made. And if you're looking to make 10%, there's no money to be made on your 77% comp buy. So he was a little disheveled. He's apologizing, but he was very nice and, kind of backed away. And I wasn't mean or anything like that. And so come to find out, I talked to him at, this past show, and he just said, he came up to me and he was like, I'm going to do my first show. He's like, you're inspiring me to do my first show. And he's like, I want to try it. And he's like, and he also said, I'm learning more as far as adjusting the buying and how I'm able to move product. And he said, I'm kind of like out of doing the high and tight and high and tight margins. And so what I realized is here's a younger guy who loves the business, is aspiring to make some money on it, which, hey, all of us do it a little bit here and there, right? Some people more than others, like myself, but some people like to buy cards and at a show, they'll find stuff at a good deal so they can fund maybe getting, something that they really, really want, right? So what I realized it was just, it was a lack of experience, and he kind of, I think, my opinion is, I feel like he bought into what social media shows, and that is, everybody's paying 80% comps and whatever, or Facebook, everybody's paying, $50 cards and up, I'm paying 80% comps, and that may be the case. But in my world, that just doesn't work, and I'm not comfortable doing that. I don't like laying out big money for 5%, 3%. It's got to be like a $10,000 card. Then you're making at least something, So, but not in 50s and 100s and 200s and 500s. It's no thank you. I'd rather buy a nice big sloppy collection and get a deal in bulk and break it up and sell it that way. So, anyways, I forgot his name, but I just want to say he came up to me and he gave me a gift, right? Caught paying it forward. So I would just like, no, don't worry about it, man. It's all free. But like, I also feel too that in some cases, if you turn down a gift, it's rude. So he gave me this nice SGC Michael Jordan 9.5. And he's like, I just really want to thank you for all the information, just being open with me and this and that. And then he gave me this 2023 special release Peyton Manning Merino. It's got all that glitter and shine on it, and it's numbered on a 20, and it's a graded 9. I thought that was really generous of him, and I didn't want to make him feel bad by turning it down because he really wanted to give me the cards. So in my thing is, I'll probably end up using these for some giveaways at some point here on the channel, and he's gonna try his first show. And I was just kind of telling him, like, listen, just expect, like any other kind of business venture, you're going to have to fail sometimes, and I think when you do your first show, or even when you start getting in the habit of doing shows, you might envision how things are going to go, but you have no idea what the customers want. You have no idea what customers are willing to pay for things. So it's got to be a trial and error thing. So, and it's always good to start off at a smaller show where you're paying $50 for a table, and that's what he's doing. So shout out to that guy. Message me if you see the video. I got to get your name and contact info. It was great talking to you too. I also have to give a shout out to my basketball brother from another mother, Miguel. He had an unfortunate accident where he shattered his leg, and he had to kind of wheel himself around on one of those like kneeling scooty things. And the downside of that is he is the guy, the Basketball Hall of Fame autograph guy. He's got the original Basketball Hall of Fame sign, this giant metal sign that now has well over 50 signatures on it. When I first saw it, I think it had like 10. And over the past couple of years, he's just gone to all these signings, but he's been stuck inside his home. It was his first time out. And, it was just really good catching up with him. He's such a good guy and big heart. And, if everybody could just wish him some speedy recovery vibes, that'd be great. So, because he definitely needs it. And, it'd be great to see him back where he can actually carry his own damn sign. I'm kidding. So it was great to see him too. And last but not least, for now, we got the Sammy Thunder crew. So Sammy's doing his thing. It's always a pleasure to talk to Sammy. He gives me shouts out on his channel all the time. And honestly, if I know I have some subscribers here that are not subscribed to him, he has got one of the coolest, shows going with the Cardboard and Coal ones, the Chillin' Chats. He's a part of the Four Collectors channel. And the Cardboard and Coal one's on Thursday. It's a great show. It's co-hosted with everyday car collector Jason. And, you grab a beer, grab a soft drink, whatever, root beer, it doesn't matter. And it's kind of just like, just talking about cards and showing off some stuff. They kind of theme it with the player's number. So every episode that they do, they go up a number. I think now they're on 27, 28, 29, something like that. But I really enjoy those shows. And then you also interact with all the other collectors. And it's so fun. And so also with Sammy, I got to meet Mookie Chilson for the first time. And Mookie, really funny story if you're a Mookie Wilson fan. I was down in Shea Stadium in '96 when they had Mookie Wilson Day, and Lance Johnson was playing center field that year, that 1 year for them. And I think that's when Todd Hundley broke the home run record for the catchers, because I think Carter had it, and then Piazza I think surpassed him after. But so Lance Johnson was wearing number 1. In honor of Mookie, and they were selling hot dogs for $1. Back then, money wasn't as good as it was today, so that was a deal. Every time they walked by, me and my buddy ordered like 2 or 3. We each ate like 8 hot dogs that day, and then we're driving home and we're burping hot dogs the whole ride home. It was ridiculous. But anyways, that's my funny Mookie Wilson story there. Mookie Chilson's also the bouncer and the moderator between the Chill and Chat and the Cardboard and Coal ones, and he's always got interesting feedback. And it was great meeting you, and talking stories. And then of course we got Keith from the Lonely Basement. Second time I ran into him in person, but I've had multiple conversations with him, and another great guy, Yankees fan to the end of time, and he's working on his team sets, working on his Mattingly run, and he had a really cool pickup at that show that I'm excited to see on his channel. If he gets a chance to display, it's actually pretty big. Don't want to ruin it for anybody, so but it's big in size wise. So, and then of course we got our new friend, Cardcast new friend, Rollie Fingers shows up. Gonna slide some pictures in here and talk about that. 2:00 on Sunday, Rollie Fingers comes down the aisle, and I'm like, "Hey, Rollie, how you doing?" And he's like, "Good, good." I was like, "I got something for you." So literally, the 73 program that I picked up from my own personal collection that I read the night before on Saturday night, I take it out and I show it to him. He's looking. He's like, "Wow." He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "It's one of our years, that they won the championship." And I just said, "Rollie," I go, "You can have it." I go, "Check it out. It's a great read. It's awesome photos. It should bring back a lot of good memories for you." He's like, "I can have this?" I said, "Yeah, absolutely." And I said, "Can I take a picture with you with holding the magazine?" He's like, "Sure." So he does that. Thank me again. We talked about the Swingin' A's documentary that was narrated by MC Hammer. It's a great documentary. If you get a chance, check that out. Really crazy baseball history, just in that era for the Oakland A's, with Charlie O running the show over there, and so we were talking about that, and then he kind of goes down the aisle. He came back to thank me again, shook my hand, and while he did that, I noticed that he had his championship ring, or one of them. So I said, "Hey, is there any way I can get a close up of your championship ring, shot?" And he said, "Sure." So I'll slide this in now, so you can take a look at that. And it was so cool. And and me being an A's fan, it was great. I mean, I didn't get to see him pitch with the A's. I saw him pitch with the Brewers, and of course the Rolaids relief commercials and stuff like that. But it was just so fun. So my takeaway for the March Madness White Plains Lucky's promotion show was that I did plenty of business down there, but more importantly, I think the positive energy and flow that was going, like I had Mike Pulig right next to me, I had Carl Kahn to the left of me, and just interactions with all the dealers and the customers and the friends. To me, that's worth more than, of course, you're there to make money, but like that bonding and those lifetime friendships that I've been building, and all the new people coming into my life. It's so special to me. So just want you guys to know that. I'm almost getting teary-eyed here. But seriously, guys, I can't thank everybody enough who's supported me over the years. And I recognize that, this stuff is just cardboard. And if there is some kind of economic collapse, that this stuff becomes virtually worthless. And the fact that I can make a living on it and develop all these friendships, you can't beat it, And I'm going to leave it at this.